Alright, Hair family, welcome back. This is your hair DJ, and today I'm going to be showing you how to do this large knotless box braids with beads. This is a very beautiful style that is kind of trending, and I'm going to go straight to the point. For those of you who already know how to do knotless box braids, I'm just going to go to this straight to the point and show you how I did 2 braids. And then as you keep on watching this video, if you want to see how I did the style from start to finish, including the parts, including the dipping the braids in hot water, including beating the braids, and some other important tips that I will be sharing today. If you want to know them in details, then I will recommend you watch this video all the way to the end. But yeah, if you already know how to do knotless box braids, I'm just going to go ahead and show you straight to the point. So basically what I'm doing now is just slicking her edges. I'm just giving her a swoop, and then that's the size of her hair, the size of the parts that I did, and I'm just going to split it into 3 sections. That's because we're doing large size, and it's much easier to start the knotless braid when you part the hair into 3 sections like this. So now I'm going to go ahead and braid the 3 sections like so. I'm going to braid 1, braid 2, braid 3, braid 4. And now that I've secured my base, I'm going to go ahead and feed in this size of braid. I'm going to talk more about the size of the hair in this video. So again, if you want to see a detailed tutorial, make sure you watch this video all the way to the end. So after I feed in this size of hair, I'm going to go ahead and feed in about the same size. So basically I'm starting to feed in 2 same size of hair. That's about that, and then the third hair starts to get thicker, if that makes sense, and the 4th hair gets thicker like so. But usually I flip over the braid once I put in the 3rd strand, if that makes sense, and then I just continue to feed in more hair like so. And I continue to braid, and then I feed in hair again. So basically I notice which strand of hair needs more hair, and I just continue to feed in, and I continue to braid. So no, I am not tucking her hair in, because the base of the knotless braid is her hair, and we want to basically have the color of her hair and the blue braiding hair as well. And so I'm just going to continue to braid. Okay, so I will show you the sizes of the braiding hair as you keep watching this video, but this is just a straight to the point parts of the knotless technique that I'm focusing on right now. And then I just continue to braid and braid and braid, and whenever I need more hair to feed in, I do, but if I don't, I just braid all the way to the end, and then I twist the braid towards the ends. So one thing that is very important with the knotless braids is positioning, the way you position your hands, and I'm going to show you basically another angle of the camera, showing you how I position my hand. And I position my hand in such a way that it looks like I am doing cornrows, which I will show you as you keep on watching this video. But right now I'm just going to braid all the way to the end, and then I'm going to twist the ends of the braid. And yep, so we're doing about waist length, and because we're adding beads, I made the braids almost to like her butt, so that way it gives me room to add beads on the ends of the braids. Okay, so just keep on watching. I will keep talking to you guys as you do. Alright, so let me show you another angle, and this is basically the last braid. And again, I'm swooping her hair, and I'm using Shine and Jam with grease. The grease I'm using is Blue Magic, the Indian hemp. And so I split the hair into 3 sections like this, because large knotless braids gets tricky, you know, when splitting the hair. And so to make it easy, you want to split. So braid 1, braid 2, braid 3, braid 4, and now I'm ready to feed in hair. And I basically feed in the hair like I am doing cornrow. That's the way my hand is positioned. This allows me to have control over the braid, and basically allows me to avoid having lumps and bumps and the braid flipping over and looking and looking rough or not looking smooth. So as I position my hand for the base, I position my hand like I'm doing cornrow, and then after feeding about the 3rd hair, that's when I flip my hand to start doing individual. Okay, and then to feed more hair doing the individual, I just place the hair in the middle. I will show you again. Okay, so I take the hair and I just place it right there in the middle, and then I just kind of separate it into the braid. Don't worry, I will show this again in details. That's why I highly suggest you watch this video all the way to the end. So I'm just continuing to braid all the way to the end, continuing to feed in hair until I get the thickness that I want, and that's it. So the hair I'm using is not pre-stretched, it's just the expression braiding hair. But if you have pre-stretched hair, then that will make it easy for you. I'm actually going to leave a link to pre-stretched hair that I actually recommend, so that way it's easy for you to do this style and you don't have to like feather the hair and all that stuff. So I will also talk about why I am braiding the hair at least 4 or 5 times before fitting in the hair in this video. So make sure you keep on watching. Alright, let's get down to the details. So her hair is actually 4C, okay? And I'm actually just putting in some oil, some black castor oil with some coconut. It's mixed with coconut. And her hair is blown out. And yeah, it's very important to blow out your hair before you do this, so that way it could be nice and neat. If you have 4C hair or curly hair, please blow it out, so at least it's not tangled and it's easy to part through. So the parts I'm doing is actually smile, like a smile, as you can see I just described with my hand. I am just going to like doing a smile part like so, like an up smile. And for the back of her hair, I actually just did 3 knotless braids. Okay, so I use a Shine and Jam to clean the parts and make sure it's nice and clean. And I just comb it through and I make sure I clean the parts again, because you would think the part is actually clean until you actually put the Shine and Jam. So it's great to use it to clean your parts. Okay, so I am now going to split the hair into 3 sections. So this is the size of her hair. Okay, and since we're doing large, it's good to do the nape of her neck, basically the back of her hair. It's good to do it this size, so that the braids will last. Because if you do the parts smaller, it will not last as long, if that makes sense. Okay, so I split the hair into 3 sections like I mentioned earlier, and this is the size of the hair that I'm going to feed in first. So the first 2 strands are equal, and then it starts to get thicker, and the strand is basically going from medium strand to a large strand. Okay, and that's what I just put on my hand. I'm going from medium strand to large strand. If you were to do medium size knotless braids, you will go from small strands to medium strands, if that makes sense. Okay, so what I did now is I actually braided the hair 3 times, and I'm gonna take that out because it's not gonna last, you know, and this is the reason why I braid at least 4 or 5 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I feed in hair. I'm sorry, this video is going a little fast. But I will show you again in slow motion, okay? Alright, so let's do this again. If you didn't catch the drift the first time. Alright? So, I put in the Shining Jam, comb it through, alright? And now I am splitting the hair into 3 sections, okay? And then now I am going to go ahead and braid the hair. Braid 1, braid 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I'm ready to feed in my first strand like so, and I let go and I tuck it under. I place it over the braid, I let go, and I tuck it under. I place it over the braid, I let go, I tuck it under, and my hand is positioned like I am doing cornrow. And now to feed in hair, after flipping the hair over, I place the braiding hair in between the braid, and then I just distribute it accordingly, like so. Now we're done with the 3 braids in the back. I'm going to go ahead and make a middle part because that's what she's having today, before I make my next smile part over her ear level. And if you're doing side part, I highly suggest you make the part first after doing the first 3 braids in the back, just so that way you can have an accurate part for the style, okay? So if you're doing middle part the middle first before you make your next smile over the ear level. And that's basically how I just continue to section the hair and part the hair like so until I got to the top of her head. Okay, so if you guys have any questions so far, let me know in the comments section. We'll be more than happy to answer all of your questions. Okay, so keep on watching. I am going to show you how I dip the braids in hot water, because that too is very, very key and is very important because the braids are large. And I'm going to show you guys how to remove stiffness and how to put the beads. So stay tuned for the finishing touch. So now that we're done, I'm going to put some oil on her scalp, and I'm using this vitamin E oil because vitamin E oil is great for hair growth. So So I'm just putting that on her part, and ooh, it feels so good. I know it feels so good. And so now I'm just trimming off the flyaways of the braiding hair, and this is the reason why I highly recommend you check out the pre-stretch braiding hair that I'm going to leave in the description box, so that way you don't have to deal with so much flyaways, okay? So for the deeping process, I just make sure her head is tilted to the back, and then I get my bucket and then I pour the hot water on the braids itself. Instead of pouring the water in the bucket and then dipping the braids in the bucket, I pour the water on the braids itself, because I want to make sure that all the braids absorb the hot water and all of the heat. You know, the heat goes upwards, and the heat is going to remove any kind of stiffness. And I just continue to pour the water, and now I am swaying the braids. And if you notice, I pour the hot water towards the top of her braids, okay? That's because I want to get like the top of the braids to absorb all of the heat, so that way there is no stiffness on top. And now I just pour hot water on this towel, and what I'm going to do now is to place this hot towel. I make sure it's not so hot that it's going to burn her scalp, but I just place the heat over her head. This is going to release any kind of stiffness, and it's just going to help to soothe her scalp, and also promote blood circulation, okay? So this is one of the tricks, you know, for hair growth. And so now I'm just going to use my moisturizing mousse. I can't remember what the name is, but I'll leave it in the description, okay? And I just moisturize the braids with it, and now I just lay all the braids to the back like so, and then I start to bead the middle braid, okay? Because I want to make sure I get the beads to be equal on the bottom. I want it to be equal. I don't want it to be tilted to the side, or I don't want one side of the beaded braid to look longer than the other. And so that's why I did one bead in the middle, and I am putting in 2 beads into the braids, and I am using rubber band to basically secure the first bead at the bottom, and that's basically it. So I'm pretty sure you guys know how to bead hair, right? If you don't know how to bead hair, like you gotta remember how your mama did it for you, because when you were a child, you probably had beads in your hair. And so that's it for the beads, okay? So it's pretty easy to use the beader, and that's it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Make sure you hit that like button, and also subscribe to this channel. It's super free. You don't have to pay a dime. Yup, it's free, and I'll see you guys next time.